Hi, Connie.
Hello. Thanks for hosting me, Sarah.
Yeah, we both have our piping hot tea. Is yours steaming?
hmm Well,
Blurred.
it's
It is.
it blurred out, but it's my little fun little mug of uh, not knowing what's up.
Not knowing what's up.
Look at that little face. It's just
I
like
see it. It's
skeptical.
musical like,
Little skeptical.
okay, we are ready with our tea. And it's the first episode or the first session of whatever this is going to blossom into. But it's called Hey, How Was Your Day? And Connie was like brave enough and like cool enough to be like, hey, I'm willing to like go on and talk about what my life is like. So I want to introduce Connie because Connie is exceptional and I want to brag about her all the time because you've done so many things, Connie. And so some of those things, just to give a small taste of those, is Connie's a Forbes 30 under 30, a two-time founder, currently CEO of Tandem. And also I found this as an Easter egg on your website, is you applied and got into your Stanford MBA with a video game that you made called Super Connie 64. And
I'm
then
glad you found that Easter egg.
yeah, I played it for and kept dying. It's like maybe I'll never find these superpowers, but it was super cool and original. And then some of the personal things about Connie is he grew up. Oh, we can see comments. Okay, cool. Hey, Alexandra. Connie grew up in sunny San Diego, part of an immigrant family, has two cats, and met her partner in high school chemistry class, and lives in Palo Alto. And current hobby is amateur stand-up comedy, which I've been promised a video at some point, which I'm super excited about. It was like worth doing this all together. So cool. Okay, let's talk about yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and all the different types of days you've had. Could you tell me, Connie, about what was your day like as a child?
I love the theme of this podcast because I feel like it's a beautiful excuse to dive into the little details that usually get lost when you're just sharing that overarching story. Um, and I rarely get to talk about my childhood, but
Mm.
um, I'll zoom in on like maybe elementary, middle school time, because I feel like all of those memories were both dominated by me and my older brother, 2 years older. His name's Stanley. Were always very close with our neighbors wherever we
Mm.
grew up. We had a period of time where we grew up in Connecticut, so a lot fewer Asians, and then we moved to San Diego when I was in fourth grade, and then had in both places had this beautiful neighbor community where almost every day one or the other neighbor would be knocking on the other person's door and being like playtime. So there was just so much
I
like
love that.
creativity and um, like open doors to being able to just always feel in community with others. So I think that has led to a lot of my love for community nowadays. Um, where I live in a house with 6 people now, and I feel so much of the same like camaraderie of just being able to have those little moments during the day where you're just like feeling seen and heard and loved by other people, just as you're passing by them on the staircase or going over to their door the next day. So very, very playful childhood. Also was very studious. Um, the like embarrassing fact about how studious is I think I started studying for the SAT when I was in fourth grade. I will caveat with I have an older sister who's 10 years older. I remember sitting in her room once and I was still learning how to tie my shoes. And then I pointed at the book on her shelf. I was like, "What is that?"
Wow.
And she's like, "Ha ha ha, it's called SAT." And like, I was just always around uh, like this amount of like value for education and ambition that like became very
Mhm.
ingrained in me, and especially so because I saw my older sister going through it, looked up to her so much that I was like, all right, here I go too, in a way that was probably earlier than necessary, but luckily got balanced out by all the play with neighbors and everything else.
Yeah. Tell me about what would you do for play? So your neighbor knocks on your door, and then what do you go do?
Yeah, we would come up with games all the time. So I remember like making music videos to Avril Lavigne. It was like Complicated was the first song that I ever learned all the lyrics to. And then we would like make up little dances. We would just like find random things in each other's garages, like bungee cords or whatever, and then come up with a game for it of like, Emily, hide all of these, or like, we need to connect this thing with this thing to be able to like jump to the new island. They had a trampoline, so we'd spend a lot of time trampolining. And then the other two games I remember a lot is we'd play a lot of rock tag, which is you're safe when you're standing on the rock, so a lot of running
Of
around.
course.
And then,
Yeah.
of course, and then we had a day that that for some reason really stuck in my memory where we had a pretty big backyard in Connecticut with a lot of trees, and then in the fall all the leaves would fall. We would make like little mud balls and wrap them in the leaves and then hide them and call them dinosaur eggs. So it was like very much a childhood of imagination and fun.
Oh, I feel like that could be a whole episode, just like diving into what kind of childhood games we played.
Mm-hmm. I
And
want to
it's
hear a
amazing.
childhood game of yours too.
I was a very bossy child. I tried to direct Grease. I really loved that musical.
Incredible.
I cast everybody. I wasn't the most popular, but I cast the popular people as the main characters. And
Yeah.
I don't know why people tolerated it. I was 10 years old on the playground, like bossing people around. That was my idea of fun. I should have been a
I love
director.
it.
How did you balance, or did you even think about balance? Probably not, of like studying and play. Or to you, was it all play?
It was all, I knew that they were different because I was very rigorous about studying, but I think it was much later in life where it became like a guilt of like, oh, I need to like play is at the sacrifice of work. I think that really set in when I got into college. But growing up, like play and work like felt very interchangeable to me of like I could always be interrupted and like it never felt like an interruption. Like a knock on the door
Mm.
of it's playtime wasn't like, oh, I need to wrap things up first, or I need to like shift out of work zone. It always was just like, oh yeah, it's playtime, and then go out and play. And like the time boxing and everything else that kind of comes with adulthood really set in more in college than in that childhood era.
Yeah, it was like, all right, the interruption, the priority is play. So let's go at any
Mm-hmm.
moment. I
Yeah,
love that.
exactly.
And then did you do that with your brother? You mentioned he was 2 years older.
Mm-hmm. The studying part or the play part?
The play part, still on the play.
Still on the play. Yeah, we would play a lot. I don't actually remember us solo playing that much. Like we very much played a lot with our neighbors. It was whenever we could all get together as a group that we would like have enough people to play like t-ball or kickball or like run around and play tag. Like a two-person game never, I don't know. I truly don't remember playing many like two people games. Um, our memories would be my memories that were solo with my brother are like me trying to steal the Harry Potter book from him. And like us trying to do solo things, but like only having one of them. We're like trying to get time on Game
Mm.
Boy Color. Those are very much the solo memories we have together.
Yeah, limited resources and trying to get your time with them.
Allocate. Exactly.
Allocate. It kind of reminds me actually of when you saw the SAT book with your sister. Like there's a theme of seeing the books on your older
Mm,
siblings' shelves and being like, I want that.
yeah, I think being the youngest, I got the
Mm.
privilege of being able to see what they dived into. Like I think I got a lot of my studiousness and just uh like work hard nature from my sister, and then I got a lot of my humor from my brother. So much of it
Ooh,
was just like watching both of them and how they navigated the world and going
yeah.
like, I want that, that, and that as part of my
Yeah.
life too.
A bit of a shopping, like
Kid in a
a
candy
grocery. I'll
store.
have this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what is your life like now? Tell me about yesterday.
Hmm. Yesterday, yesterday I uh, was spending a lot of it chuckling to myself about. So on Monday, so today's Wednesday. On Monday
Mhm.
night, I did my first stand-up set. I kind
Yay.
of bombed. Tuesday was remembering small moments from me bombing and chuckling to myself. And I end up doing, usually my like 9 to 5 is like working on tandem, and that involves a lot of calls with people. So I think I was
Mm,
on like 4 or 5 calls yesterday. Some of them are me coaching others, and some of them were like sales or partnerships calls, to build tandem. And then uh, in between that, my partner also works from home, so it's nice to be able to have those interstitial moments during the day to go on a walk
mm.
together and chat, or be able to like play some video games. Or we're planning a trip to Japan right now, so we'll like intersperse with some trip planning. Um, so it was a lot of like, I would say yesterday was very much a get work done, but fill in all the other moments with time with my partner and things that we're really excited about. So I guess not that different from a um, kid day where it's just filled
Mm.
in the moments between work with play.
Yeah. Tell me, I was going to ask you how playing has evolved. So, like, what present day play looks like.
Mm. Um, I think, especially this year, I've been trying to, not that intentionally, I would say, but I've been doing a lot more like of the return to what kid play looks like. Um,
Mm,
I think there's a lot more travel than I was able to do as a kid. I really, really value my friendship. So I always will go out of my way for weekends to go like visit friends, or either locally or we'll travel somewhere together. So I think like that dominates a lot of my playtime that I like specifically allocate out. Um, for example, one of my housemates is having a 30th birthday this weekend, so we're all like renting an Airbnb and able to like spend playtime there. Um, and it feels very familiar in that, like, for example, last weekend we were like, as a house, let's all play kickball. Very like kiddish activity.
kickball. Yeah.
Next weekend, I think like, for example, the person's birthday, he's really into Dungeons and Dragons, so he's like, I'm gonna lead a campaign. So
Mm,
we're all part of that. So it's very much like guided by the play of the people around me as well.
yeah. It's the neighbors, but now they're your housemates and they're knocking
Mhm.
on your door and being like, I want to do this.
Yeah, it's like, I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah. You're kind of like uh, a yes and an improv.
hmm Exactly.
And
Yeah.
what were the moments that you were chuckling about? How did it go on Monday?
It was fun. I would say there were, I basically like, it was a 5 minute set at an open mic.
Mhm.
And the open mic was primarily musicians, and I was the only stand up comic, which
Mm.
is totally fine, but also a very different vibe. Like the song right before me was a like hardcore um like rock song about orca whales, and then it was me, and then it was like a very sad song about like broken hearts. So I think when I went on stage, I looked out and I saw these this like table of women basically like death glaring me. And I was like, oh gosh, I gotta get in the right mindset. So every time I'd look over, I'd be like, oh God, I don't belong here. Then I'd look over at my friend group and they're cracking up. And I was like, okay, reframe. This is just like me making a fool of myself for my friends to provide a good night. Like it's not to just make this whole crowd love me. But it was just like so fun to be able to have this plan of jokes. The ones that I didn't think would land were the ones that did, and vice versa.
Wow.
So it was just like, I don't know, go out and do it. I remember like feeling so much relief when I was done and just like ready to write my next set of jokes. So I think both of those felt true of like, I think I was like, oh, the worst case scenario is if I bomb. Then I bombed and I was like, wow, I'm invincible. That thing happened. I'm not dead. And here I go. Now I can do it with even more gusto next time because that like the worst case scenario has already happened.
Yeah. Was it as scary as you imagined it was? It could be? Was it scary?
I don't think it was. I was nervous, but I think it was like usually my public speaking symptoms, and I think anyone with like public speaking fear gets like different symptoms. I get very cold and shivery, and then like very, very like out of body. And I think I felt that like 30% the amount that I thought I would. So that felt good. And I think it was like very, thanks to the venue and like the host being a very like goofy guy, that it loosened up the crowd and myself so much to like watch a few acts beforehand, see everyone just be themselves and like bring who they are and their creative like medium to the stage. And then it just like opened the door for permission of like, okay, just be who you are. Like you're taking up 5 minutes of time, like make some jokes, head off, next person goes. It just like alleviated it a lot more of like there's so much permission to just be.
Yeah. How long had you been thinking about doing stand-up and getting up there?
I'd say my prep for it was in the last month. I think the like initial seed of an idea was a 2023 New Year's resolution, and now that 2023 is almost over, my friend was like, "Okay, it's time." So then she dropped a calendar invite on my calendar, and I am so married to my calendar that anything that gets on there will get done. So
Vouch.
she did it.
Can vouch for that. That's how we ended up here.
I got checked.
Wait. So she found an open mic and then she put it on your calendar. Yeah. And that's how you ended up doing it?
Yeah.
That's
we had a lot of notice, but she gave me like a month or so notice. But yeah, she was wow. Like, I know this open mic that we can go to. We vetted out the venue like a month ago. Clearly didn't vet it out hard enough. Because maybe not the right audience, but that's okay. It was still like more friendly than other open mics I've been to. And and then it said to be there on my calendar, so I was going to be there.
These are the things that I would never have known this little anecdote about you, like through networking or through online interact. I love that. So
now you know how to my like weakest link. You can just drop anything on my calendar and you've got me.
Yeah. I'm curious about this is actually a good segue of what your new resolutions will be and your future day.
Ooh.
So do you have your resolutions yet? An idea?
I do not.
Semblance? Okay.
I think I'll do more stand-up at some point. And now that I said it, I'm like, oh gosh, is this a commitment? I'm very like, anytime I say something, I get it done. So maybe I'll do jokes. Like one or two more sets at some point in 2024. But I feel like that one's not like scratching a new surface of
Mm-hmm.
like trying new things. Yeah, I don't know yet. Some of them, I try to keep my resolutions not so work related because I spend a lot of time like work strategizing, which kind of feels like resolutions, but like for different
Mm.
time blocks of like in the next 3 months, in the next 6, in the next 12. Um, but the only ones that are coming to mind are like coaching or tandem related. I would say like I want to continue growing my coaching practice and then um, growing tandem, and both of those
Mm-hmm.
are like more work related goals.
Yeah. Okay. When I ask you to describe, so Connie, describe a future day. How old are you?
Mm. Um, Maybe I will describe one when I'm 40. Yeah.
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. Um, my future day. I imagine there will be kids involved. I think, let's say they're like just starting elementary school. I feel like I might have like a
Mm.
teary day of sending them off to first grade. Um, and I want my day to be filled with, um, I really like leading teams and kind of being, I think like the way I lead teams is very similar to the way I coach, of just like, I want to be there for people and help them feel seen, heard, they can go to me. Um, and I hope I'm going into an office of the company I run and able to, I don't know, like I really like that idea of building an in-person community of this
Mm.
team. I think like the one of the things I'm most proud of is the team I built for Project Invent, my last company, where everyone was just such genuinely good humans, and so um, and we were all building towards this mission that was so important, that I feel like that like we're all in this together, feeling, and we are all in community with each other and have those little interstitial moments I get with my housemates,
Mm.
is something that I hope for in a future workplace. Um, yeah, so I feel like it'll be like heartful from raising kids and raising a family, and heartful from building a team and able to create that team as a community that sees each other every day and is building towards something meaningful.
Yeah. Then you picture the future. When you picture 40, how clear does it feel?
Um, Not very, but it feels very like broad strokes, almost like an abstract
Mm.
painting. But I feel like as I get closer, like the tree details will get filled in, or the water reflections will get filled in. But right now, it's just like family, leading the team, still laughing a lot and having a lot of fun. And like,
Ooh.
I feel like the feeling that I want to achieve like feels very clear. Um, but like how that is filled, and like what is filling those every minute or every hour doesn't feel as clear.
Yeah. That's interesting. Of the feeling is clear, and you mentioned like I still want to be laughing and like have this sense
Mhm.
of like those moments of connectedness. What is the feeling if you could name it?
I'd say almost like an ease and a like
Mm.
centeredness, like a, I would say like a heavy rock that is just like very steady, and like a calmness towards whatever hits that rock, like is me being the rock,
Huh.
is very
I was
is
gonna
like
ask.
weathered easily. So yeah, I would say just like a calm ease, steadiness. that I bring. And that's what also like fuels what makes me a good parent, what makes me a good coach, what makes me a good leader, because people feel comfortable bringing things to me and that I will hold them appropriately.
Mm. Yeah. 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 What you said about like helping people be seen and heard and like creating that space for people, any people that you interact with, like your children, your teams,
Mm-hmm.
the company that you're building. I can picture you walking into that building and with Tandem and having this great team. I mean, for a second time, just that you've done it multiple times. Okay. Thank you for walking through that with me. How was that?
I really loved that. I really liked being able to, the like temporal memories and being able to draw
Mm,
connections between what is the common thread between what is preserved, um, actually makes it a lot easier to imagine that future, because it becomes more clear by drawing from the past memories and present memories of like what is valued, um, and what are those moments that stand out of like, oh, these are the things that will always be important to me. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I really appreciated how you formatted and guided this whole conversation.
Thank you. It wasn't on purpose. It was really interesting that, like you said, it's the interstitial moments, which
Mhm.
aren't necessarily the ones that come to mind as like the big ones that we'll remember forever, but it actually sounds like those are the meaningful ones that
Yeah,
you have a lot of weight on those, the
yeah.
in-betweens.
How did the format feel to you? I know this is the first full run through.
Yeah, definitely got nervous. Like I said, immediately when we hit record, I was like, oh my God, it's live.
It's happening.
It's happening. I really wanted to ask you about what foods you ate in in each day. Like, what are the snacks
Yeah.
that you ate? When did you eat dinner? Like, what did you do after 9 to 5? So there are a couple of things that I wanted to add, but I just love where it took us. And I didn't think that I would find out about this calendar hack to schedule things on your with you. And yeah, it was fun. I'm excited to keep doing it, to write more jokes and to keep at it.
Yeah, I love the food question. I feel like that
Mm,
thread is a fun, like the childhood snacks that feel most nostalgic. How do those
yeah.
continue to play out? And like, what are those flavors that bring that joy?
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So many
And
routes this could go.
yeah, we'll see. But thank you for trying this with me. And Connie, is there anywhere that um, people can connect with you and reach out?
Mhm.
I mean, there are a number of ways.
Yeah. Um, I'd say LinkedIn is easiest. Connie Liu, Tandem, you'll find me. There's a lot of Connie Lius. Um, and the two websites that link to me are connieklu.com, and tritandem.com.
Cool. And you will announce on LinkedIn and other places when your next stand up is.
Exactly, maybe.
Ex- Perfect. Okay. Well, it was great to have you and have a great morning.
Thanks for trusting me with it.
Yes. All right. See you, Connie, and everyone else.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Yes.